Well, Georgia, perhaps I can come to you. You're probably the only person that's produced any significant data around this. I mean, can you help us as to what drives this inconsistency? Are there any explanations for it that you found?
Yeah, definitely. So there's different types of variation. There's what we call warranted variation, where we have explanations, and then there's unwarranted variation, where it's a little bit more nuanced as to what's really driving it. We have collated and collected nearly 5,000 PFD reports. We have run the Preventable Deaths Tracker, and the insights that we're seeing is the reports are not in a format where we can say, ideally we'd like it to be driven by mortality rates, inquest rates, and how coroners practice. But what we're seeing is that it's driven by, it's sort of a bit of randomness at the moment, and we don't have concrete evidence to support what's driving this variation. I can touch on, if you want, about the initial question around the effectiveness and impact of PFDs. So the bits of evidence that Deb was talking about is relating to what we call that's low quality evidence. These are individual case reports. What we do really want to see, and what our research has shown by doing a big, large, systematic case series of more than nearly 5,000 reports, is that coroners are repeatedly raising the same concerns. We're seeing similar deaths occurring, and nothing's happening to do anything about these deaths that are occurring. So our research has shown that these concerns are repeated, that the same deaths are occurring, and that there is no local or national approach to formally and systematically address these. But I'm an epidemiologist, and we can design studies that could look at the effectiveness of PFDs, and we could tell taxpayers and the government and the public how many lives are saved from PFD reports if resources were available for us to design these studies. So we could tell you, in 2023, we saved 5 lives, we saved 100 lives from PFD reports, but we just need the resources to design those studies and to carry those out, so we can give you this evidence and say, this is what's driving variation, this is the effectiveness and impact of PFDs, and I can talk more on that as well.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that. So you've got the variation, which seems rather random in terms of whether or not there is a PFD. What about within the quality of the PFDs and their content and structure, for example?
Yes.
Are you able to discern any trends or any underlying basis for? Is there variation? If so, again, can you find anything that points to a pattern there or not?
Yeah, so there is unfortunately, the variation is driven by missing data. So we have missing essential information, like the age of the deceased, the year of death. So we know that there are, and the Chief Coroner alluded to this in his oral evidence, that the delays are going to continue in terms of backlog for inquests. So what's really important is that we have clear data on when these deaths occurred, because regulations come into play, actions will be taken at different time points. So in order to examine the effectiveness and look at these, we need good demographics on who these people are, what age they were when they passed away, and when this death occurred, so we can think about what strategies have been done to prevent these deaths and could be done in the future as well. So I'd say it's more so the missing information that is the most crucial part that's driving the poor quality. But of course, there's inconsistencies across, you've got 81 areas. So people, the Chief Coroner does have a template.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And how often do they fit the template, or how much? Sometimes don't they?
So and so, it's variable. So so there are some fantastic coroners who always use the most up-to-date template, who report age, who report year of death, but of course it's not standardized across the country.